Alrighty, let's see. Let me share my Chrome window. I've been off working on a bunch of throttler and orchestrator and complicated job planning and whatnot related stuff. And one of the things that has sort of I wanted to make sure that we had sort of the tools we needed to figure out what's going on when things are going on. Say maybe you have a bunch of jobs that aren't running or things are stuck, and trying to make sure that either we want to kill jobs to make sure that things can continue, or have some idea of what's running so that we can go figure out like, oh yeah, this query is slow, let's go to the detail, maybe tying into some of the stuff that Kai showed with his analytics stuff. We will also want to plumb in some of that information. I don't have it here yet, but one of the things, I have this really nice dashboard with lots of tiles on it that all sleep for a long time, and if I run this, I can see that I have 10 stages running out of 30 that's allowed. Interesting. 13 throttled stages. I want to go take a look at my child throttlers. I can see 10 of 20 in my connection throttler. I can go to the child throttler, see that there's 10 of 10. Okay, so I'm being throttled on the user. I can come in here and I can actually say like, actually, I want to run 20 of these now at a time. It will now kick off the other 10 queries. I can see that I'm running 20 of 20. There's still a couple throttled behind the scenes. I can make this 25. It still sticks at 20 because now we can see that the user is throttling us here, or the connection is throttling here. I can bump this up to 25, and now everything is running. This is sort of like ways to get us out of sticky situations, or allow the system to run more temporarily if that's something I want to do. Of course, I'm kind of curious what these slow queries are, so I can pop in here. Obviously, my UI skills are terrible. I can see here that, here I have a model query. It's using the sleep value field. It's got a, filter value of 90. Interesting. I can see the SQL that's actually executing. And in the case of, and this one will take a while, so because it takes 90 seconds, but you can also see after the fact, for a little bit of time after the query has completed, that it will tell you what had happened when the query completed. And we could theoretically tell you the same metrics that Kai was showing, that has something like how long it took, whatever. We can go back in time and sort of see what happened. Sort of allows for these bits and pieces to kind of work together. You can see we're burning down the number of throttlers. I can actually bring this stack down to, let's say, 10 connection throttlers at a time. It won't stop anything if you do that, but it will limit new things from starting. It'll sort of allow us to temporarily increase the limits that we want to have in place here. And the real reason for this sort of system is that you may not want to have a single connection running 10,000 queries at one time. It may overwhelm your database. It may cause more problems than you would actually like to handle. Some database technologies do a much better job at making sure that they don't overwhelm themselves by intelligently queuing things, and some don't. So if you try to run 10,000 queries against Postgres at the same time, nothing will ever complete. So you may want to limit how many connections are actually being connected to your database at one time, and we will do some smart queuing. Of course, if you then limit how many connections you can make, and then one user wants to use up all the connections, then you have a problem. So that's why there's this hierarchy of connection throttlers and user throttlers. So for example, a user can only use, and I've just picked numbers here, but a user can only run 10 queries at a time. The connection can only run 20 queries at a time. So one user can't use up all of them. Now, all of these things are probably going to be configurable in some way, shape, or form, and the numbers are, I just picked something to play with, but it will sort of allow us to make sure that the system is not only protecting us and our customers' databases against high query loads, but also figure out what's going on